What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now, don't forget to like this video, as it does let me know to continue to give you free picks every day. So make sure to like this video, clicking that button down below. And if we get 500 likes, I will do another video for tomorrow. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group. And as you guys see, we actually got 19 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we were on a huge hot streak. But if you want to get 19 picks right like me, win more bets, and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. It should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $550 just yesterday. Another member who won $156 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily upload. So quick shout out to Crayb89 who said thank you for the analysis, and shouts out to North87 who said they done took Jaquez off SMH. So like I said, these picks, you want to get in on them as soon as possible, as soon as you watch this video, but still shouts out to them. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight to the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Jalen Brunson, and this one is for 9.5 rebounds and assists, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Jalen Brunson, we actually have seen him go on the over in actually 2 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, you see on December 30th, faced off against New Orleans Pelicans, had 13 rebounds and assists there. January 1st, faced off against San Antonio Spurs, actually had 12 rebounds and assists in that matchup. January 3rd, Atlanta Hawks had 7 rebounds and assists, then 8 rebounds and assists against Philadelphia 76ers on January 4th, and then 3 rebounds and assists against Detroit Pistons on January 6th. So very interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Jalen Brunson, we have seen him, as I mentioned, go on the over in 2 out of the last 5 games. So he has done pretty decent there. But looking at actually his average over the last 5, it is currently sitting at 8.6. So he definitely did struggle against that Detroit Pistons team. And because of that, it's definitely led him a little bit, or push this average a little bit down, because his average is 8.6 and it is slightly below this line for sure. But we are liking the over due to their situation and the matchup that they do face off against, because Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks have themselves a great matchup against the LA Clippers. Now, looking at both these teams, starting off with New York Knicks and where they do rank in the regular season, we do see that they currently rank 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They've done a fantastic job, having 23 wins, 13 losses. That's a 63.9% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 15-4 from home, 7-9 from away, and are currently on a 4-game losing streak. So definitely very interesting to see from them. Looking at someone like Jalen Brunson, we have definitely seen him do a great job for this team and leading this team to a number 3 spot. Now, they face off against the LA Clippers. We're looking at LA Clippers. They do rank 11th in the Western Conference. Now, they're in a bit of a different situation because they rank 11th, also having 13 wins and also 22 losses. That's a 37.1% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are also 9-9 from home, 4-13 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So Clippers have definitely struggled just a little bit. Now, they are trying their best to see if they can get back into a playoff picture. Season's still early, and they definitely are trying to push for more. But unfortunately, looking at the LA Clippers as well, and looking at where they do rank defensively, we do see, obviously, this is a rebounds and assist pick. So looking at LA Clippers and where they do rank, starting off with assist allow, we see that they rank 11th, actually allowing 25.9 assists per game. So, pretty interesting there. When we look at rebounds allowed, we see that the LA Clippers do rank 8th, actually allowing only 42.2 rebounds per game. So why do we like the over for this situation? And it is due to the fact that the LA Clippers do a very poor job at restricting rebounds and assists to the point guard position. So for that reason, we are definitely expecting the over for someone like Jalen Brunson coming into this game. We definitely see him being able to take advantage of this and go on the over here, especially due to the fact that Brunson is, coming into this game as the main point guard and is definitely going to have a high usage rate as he has had all season. So Clippers do definitely struggle against that, and we definitely are expecting Brunson to take advantage of this. Now, when it comes to someone like Jalen Brunson, although he is a big scorer for this team, what we tend to see when it actually comes to Brunson lately is that when he does struggle a little bit to score, he starts to look to play make and he starts to look to, kind of do other things out there on the floor. And, just thinking about this, we also do know that Clippers are going to put a lot of the defensive attention on him. And because of that, it will definitely force Jalen Brunson to do a little bit more of anything extra, such as playmaking, such as rebounding, as they may try to cut off his scoring as quick as possible coming into this game. So definitely keep an eye out still for the over for the rebounds and assists, as we do believe that Clippers are going to try to stop him to score. So Brunson's going to have to, put other stats on the board for sure. Now, looking at the rebounds and assists line on actually, the pros and what they do have to say, we do actually see that they have him at 10.5 rebounds and assists. So it is a little bit of a different line. Obviously, we have him for 9.5 while they have him for 10.5. So very, very different line. So it is really difficult to look at what the bookies are saying there. But when we also look at the projection, we do also see, looking at this projection, we do see that it's projected at 9.4 rebounds and assists, which would technically be on the under. But we like the over for this one, so we are going a little bit against the grain here, and because of that, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Jalen Brunson. Now, when we look at his last 15 games, we have seen him do a pretty decent job. It is somewhat 50-50. He's gone on the over in 46% of those games, so, he's done a pretty good job there. And then from that, we are definitely seeing that when it comes to Jalen Brunson, we are definitely liking the over still for this situation here, due to the fact that, as I've always mentioned, there will be games where he does go on the under, but it is against tougher matchups. With a matchup against, Clippers, who do struggle at restricting that point guard position, we see Brunson taking advantage of it. So for that reason, Jalen Brunson, 9.5 rebounds and assists for more, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Devin Booker. So Devin Booker has been playing great. Now this one is a fantastic one for 5.5 assists, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Devin Booker, we have actually seen him go on the over in 1 out of the last 5 games. So looking at those 5 games, you see on December 30th, faced off against Washington Wizards, actually had 5 assists in that matchup. Then January 1st, faced off against Cleveland Cavaliers, had 4 assists in that matchup. Then Sacramento Kings, January 3rd, had 5 assists there. Then 9 assists against OKC on January 5th. And then January 6th, faced off against Houston and had 3 assist in that matchup. So coming into this, we have definitely seen Booker only go on the over in 1 out of the last 5, but his average is still very close to this line because his average over the last 5 is actually 5.2. So he's done a pretty good job there. Obviously, it is slightly below this, but still a very good job and something to be proud about. But looking at Phoenix, they do have themselves coming into this next matchup, a great matchup against Memphis Grizzlies. Now, looking at both of these teams and looking at where both of them do actually rank, starting off with Phoenix Suns. Suns have had themselves a pretty decent start to the season, and they have definitely surprised a lot of people because they come in at the 7th spot in the Western Conference. They have a record of 21 wins and 15 losses. That's a 58.3% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 12-5 from home, 9-6 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very, very interesting to see from them. Now, looking at their matchup, which is Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies come in at the 10th spot in the Western Conference, and they actually have a record of 16 wins and 20 losses. So that's a 44.4% win percentage there. 8-9 from home, 8-11 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it's definitely been pretty interesting to see. A lot of people thought Grizzlies would do better than Suns, but Suns have surprised a lot of people and they find themselves in a good position. But looking at Memphis Grizzlies defensively, we are looking at assists in this sense, and looking at Memphis Grizzlies, we do actually see that Memphis Grizzlies do come in when it comes to assists allowed. They do rank 14th. So they rank pretty, lackluster, I would say, pretty poor. Actually, average averaging 26.6 assists, per game they do allow. Now, they do actually have the same and tie with 15th as well. So technically 14th, 15th, they pretty much do rank. But looking at Memphis Grizzlies, they do struggle quite a lot. On top of this, we also do see that Memphis do struggle at restricting assists as well to the guard position, whether that's point guard or shooting guard. So we are definitely expecting Devin Booker to be able to take advantage of this. Now, Booker has gone on the under quite consistently for sure, but the reason why is that he has faced off against some pretty tough teams when it comes to defending assists. Cleveland, OKC, Houston, Sacramento, all these teams are actually really good at restricting assists. Even though he did go on the over against OKC, that was definitely a little bit of an outlier game, but he's definitely faced off against tougher teams. It has, led him to the under, but now I do believe that, because of all these unders, it's led this line to drop a little bit too low, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the over. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for someone like Devin Booker coming into this game. When we look at the matchup between both of these teams, Phoenix and Memphis, we are expecting a pretty fast-paced game as well. And we do get a fast-paced game. What we could definitely see from it is that, more pace leads to more volume, and more volume leads to more opportunity to score, rebound, and also play make. But obviously in this case, we are just focusing on playmaking for Devin Booker. So for that reason, we definitely see it affecting it greatly. Now, looking at what the pros do have to say about it. So obviously we have him for 5.5 assists. Now, looking at the pros do agree with us when it comes to the bookies, because the bookies actually have him favored for the over for 5.5 assists. So they have him for negative 148, which I think is fantastic to see. So they've definitely done a great job when it comes to, being able to hit this line in other games. But coming into this next one, we are definitely expecting the over due to this matchup for sure. But we do agree with the bookies, and also looking at the projection that they do have is 7.5 assists, which is on the over as well. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the over. We agree with the bookies, agree with the projections, and on top of that, when we actually look at last 15 games, we do also see that yes, he's gone on the over in 40% of those. The other 60%, he's definitely, gone on the under, but he does get very, very close to this line. So the consistency is still there when, he does struggle a little bit. And because of that, it's definitely a convincing enough argument for us why we do like the over for this situation. So Devin Booker, 5.5 assists, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next pick, we're going to be talking about Anthony Simmons. So Anthony Simmons, another fantastic player. Now, this one is actually for points and rebounds for 15.5, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Anthony Simmons, we have seen him go on the over in 5 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 matchups, we do see December 29th faced off against Portland Trailblazers, had 16 points and rebounds there. Then 25 points and rebounds against Utah on December 31st. Then 16 points and rebounds against Sacramento Kings on January 2nd. 18 points and rebounds against LA Clippers on January 4th. Then January 6th, faced off against Chicago and had 30 points and rebounds there. So we have seen Simmons go on the over, as I mentioned, in 5 out of the last 5 games. So he has definitely done a great job there, and his average over the last 5 is also 21. So very, very interesting to see. Now, looking at someone like Anthony Simmons and the Boston Celtics, they have themselves a really good matchup against the Denver Nuggets. So obviously looking at, Boston and Denver, where both these teams do rank, starting off with Boston. Boston have surprised a lot of people because they currently sit at the 2nd spot in the Eastern Conference. At one point, they were out of the playoff picture, and they've been able to claw their way back. Now, they have 23 wins, 12 losses, a 65.7% win percentage there. They're also 11-5 from home, 12-7 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So they've definitely done a fantastic job for sure. And looking at Boston Celtics, they do have themselves a really good matchup, as I mentioned, against Denver Nuggets. And the reason why it's going to be a great one is because Denver are also another top team coming in the Western Conference at the 4th spot, and also have 24 wins, 12 losses, a 66.7% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 10-5 from home, 14-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So very, very interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at someone like Denver Nuggets and also Boston, we also do see, looking defensively at Denver Nuggets, when it comes to points allowed, we see that the Denver Nuggets, surprisingly, even though being a great top team, they still also do rank a little bit lower than people might have expected, as they come in at the 22nd spot, actually allowing 118.3 points per game. So for a top 5 team in the Western Conference, a lot of people think they would have, a little bit better defense or restricting points. But they do rank pretty low there. And then when we look at rebounds allowed, we also do see that when it comes to Denver Nuggets, they rank a little bit better, as they rank 6th and also allow 42 rebounds, or 42.0 rebounds per game. So looking at that, we are definitely still liking the over for this situation here. And a big reason being is that when we also look at Denver Nuggets, we do see that they do struggle at restricting points and rebounds to the actual, guard position. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the over for someone like Anthony Simmons here. When we look at, Denver, they do also struggle at restricting points in general, and it's definitely been one of their, I would say, poor sort of defensive standings as of lately. And because of that, we are definitely expecting Simmons, who's definitely taken on a much, much bigger role as of lately. Definitely, he should be able to take advantage of it. And that's why we have seen him go on the over quite consistently. Simmons is coming into this season in sort of a predicament where he's definitely stepped up and has also seen a little bit of an increase in his usage rate and minutes out there. And it's definitely helped this Boston team greatly. And that's why they do find themselves in the 2nd spot. But we are expecting someone like Simmons to be able to take advantage of it once again against the Denver Nuggets. Now, looking at this line and looking at what the pros do have to say about it. So looking at, as I mentioned, points and rebounds, obviously is a little bit of a different line, as I have it for 16.5. while we have it for 15.5. But looking at that, obviously we can't really go off what the bookies are saying, but the projection they actually have it at is 15.5 points and rebounds. So that is actually exactly at our line. So that's not even an under, that's not even an over. So it is a little bit different there, but coming into this next one, we still do very, very much like the over for someone like, Anthony Simmons here. When we look at the last 15 games, it is pretty good to see that he has gone on the over more than he's gone on the under over the last 15, going on the over in 53.3% of those games. So he's definitely done a fantastic job there. And coming into this next matchup, we shouldn't see any struggle from him here. So for that reason, Anthony Simmons, keep an eye out for his line, 15.5 points and rebounds for more, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting into the next pick, we're going to be talking about none other than VJ Edgecombe. And this one is for 23.5 points and rebounds. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at VJ, we have seen him go on the under in actually 1 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, you see on December 29th, faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder, had 12 points and rebounds there. Then December 31st, faced off against Memphis Grizzlies, had 31 points and rebounds. Then January 2nd, faced off against Dallas Mavericks, had 28 points and rebounds. January 4th, faced off against the New York Knicks, had 28 points and rebounds. Then 25 points and rebounds against Denver Nuggets on January 6th. So it's definitely been pretty interesting for VJ Edgecombe. He has gone on the over, as we do know, quite consistently, but we do like the under for this one. As when we look at his average over the last 5, yes, it is 24.8, so slightly above this line. But we do also see that VJ Edgecombe and the Philadelphia 76ers have themselves a very good matchup against the Washington Wizards. Now, looking at actually, both of these teams and where they do rank, starting off with Philadelphia 76ers, Philly come in at the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 19 wins and 15 losses. That's a 55.9% win percentage there. 9-9 from home, 10-6 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So, very, very interesting to see there. Looking at their matchup, which is the Washington Wizards. Wizards do come in at the 14th spot in the Eastern Conference, and they have a record of 10 wins and 25 losses. That's a 28.6% win percentage there, 6-12 from home, 4-13 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So, very, very interesting to see. Obviously, looking at Wizards, they have definitely struggled quite a lot this season, but they are hoping and looking to bounce back coming into this next one. But looking at Washington Wizards and where they do rank defensively, we do see Wizards come in at the actual point, when it comes to points allowed, come at the 29th spot, actually allowing 124 points per game. So they do allow quite a lot of points there. Looking at their matchup, they face off against a Philadelphia team that score a lot, but they do rank low. And then looking at rebounds allowed, obviously we do see that they are in a similar position as a ranked 30th and actually have a 48.3 allowing rebounding alloweds per game. So we do see that they rank very low in points and rebounds. So why do we like the under for this situation here? And a big reason being is that when we actually look at VJ Edgecombe, we are actually expecting the under, as we are expecting a blowout situation coming into this game. If that is the case, we are expecting VJ to actually get out of the court or pretty much, kind of get his minutes restricted quite quickly. And because of that, it definitely could lead to an under for this situation here. Now, when we look at someone like VJ Edgecombe, what we also do know when it comes to him, yes, we also do see that Washington do a pretty good job at restricting points and rebounds to the guard position. Now, it isn't anything spectacular, but still very solid. And because of that, coming into this matchup, we are expecting Washington to put a little bit of the pressure on VJ. And even though there might be other players scoring for this Philly team, it could definitely affect VJ Edgecombe's actual usage rate out there a lot. But that mixed with also, we are expecting a blowout situation, and VJ Edgecombe should be heading off early in this game. We are definitely liking the under for this situation for sure. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the actual, under for this situation here. But looking at what the pros do have to say about it, obviously we have him for a pretty good line when it comes to points and rebounds. Now, they have him for 22.5, so it is a little bit of a different line there. But looking at this, we do see that obviously the bookies, it is kind of difficult to go off what the bookies are saying because it is a much different line there. But also looking at that, we do see when it comes to, his projection, they have him projected for 21.6. So 21.6 would still be the under for us here. That's why we are very, very much liking the under for this one. And when it actually comes to, obviously VJ Edgecombe, we are agreeing with the projection here for sure. Now, looking at also this line, we do see that he has gone on the over in 53% of those games. So he's pretty much going on the under in 47% of those. So very, very even. It's pretty much a 50-50 toss up there. But coming into this one, as we've always mentioned, matchups. That's what's most important. And with a matchup like this, we definitely see him going on the under here. So VJ Edgecombe, 23.5 points and rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Michael Porter Jr. So Michael Porter Jr., MPJ, he's done a fantastic job, but in this one as actually 4 points, rebounds, and assists for Michael Porter Jr. for 34.5, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Michael Porter Jr., we have seen him go on the over in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on December 22nd, faced off against Toronto, had 40 points, rebounds, and assists there. Then December 24th, faced off against Philadelphia 76ers, had 34 points, rebounds, and assists. December 28th, faced off against Minnesota, had 41 PRA. Then Golden State Warriors had a 41 PRA on December 30th. And then January 5th, faced off against Denver Nuggets and had a 43 PRA there. So we have actually seen Michael Porter Jr., as I mentioned, going the over in actually, 4 out of those last 5 games. But what we also do see is that his average over the last 5 is also 39.8. When you also look at the game that he did go on the under, he only missed it by 0.5. So he's very, very close at getting to this line and very consistent as well. And this is definitely due to the fact that MPJ has a very, very high usage rate and a high volume shooter. Now, that is definitely kind of, the meme out there when it comes to MPJ being, a very, very high volume shooter. But Brooklyn Nets do have themselves a great matchup against the Orlando Magic. Now, looking at where both these teams do lie, starting off with the Brooklyn Nets, Brooklyn come in at the 13th spot in the actual Eastern Conference. They have a record of 11 wins and 22 losses. That's a 33.3% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 5-13 from home, 6-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So, very interesting to see from them there. Looking at Brooklyn Nets, however, they face off against Orlando Magic, who rank a little bit better, unfortunately, as they rank 7th 7th in the Eastern Conference and have a record of 20 wins and 17 losses. So that's a 54.1% win percentage there. On top of that, they are 12-5 from home, 8-11 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very interesting to see from them there. Now looking at actually MPJ and Brooklyn facing off against Orlando, we do also see that Orlando Magic, when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists allowed, starting off with points allowed, we see that, Orlando Magic do actually rank, when it comes to points allowed, they do rank 14th. Yeah, so pretty mid-tier there, also allowing 115.6 points per game. On top of that, looking at assists allowed, we see that they rank 8th as there as well, as they actually allow 25.3 assists per game. Then rebounds allowed, we also do see that, Orlando Magic ranked 12th, also allowing 43.6 rebounds per game. So Orlando Magic do a pretty decent job. I would say still a higher mid-tier, nothing really too crazy, but we definitely still see that being not enough to stop someone like MPJ on going on the over here. And that's due to the fact that Orlando Magic do a fantastic job at defense for sure, but they do a poor job at restricting the forward position. So when we look on a per position basis, we see a very different story. And for that, we definitely see someone like MPJ going on the over here and taking advantage of that easily. Now, as we mentioned before, I know it is a little bit of a joke with MPJ, but we all do know he loves to score, and I do believe that his high volume that he has been shooting with will continue on into this next game, especially against a matchup like the Orlando Magic. So coming into this matchup, the fact that Orlando struggle against his position, we are expecting MPJ to be able to take advantage of this and be able to go on the over here. Now, looking at Michael Porter Jr. and also what the pros do have to say about it. So obviously MPJ is actually a little bit of a different line for the pros, as they have for 35.5, but a big thing for us here is that they still do have him favored for the over, even at 35.5. So I think that is great to see, the fact that they have him favored for the over at 35.5, and the fact that we have him at 34.5 even makes the over more likely to hit. So coming into this one, we do very much like the actual, as I mentioned, over for this situation here. However, we are actually going a little bit against what the projection is, as the projection does have it at 31. So projection is at 31, so we are going a little bit against the grain in that sense. But looking at that overall, we do also see that when it comes to actually Michael Porter Jr., we also see that over the last 15 games, we have him, or they have him favored for the over, as he actually has gone on the over in 73% of those games. And that's definitely due to the high volume of shooting that MPJ likes to score with, and also he does like to rebound and play make out there sometimes. But definitely MPJ is just known for volume shooting, volume scoring, everything volume, and we definitely see that coming into this next game. So MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. for actually 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists for more, I think is a fantastic pick.